Gotta add myself to the stage. Hello, you guys. Happy Friday. I hope you're all having a great start to your Friday. Let me just tweet this out. If you guys can, tweet it out. Come join us. The more, the merrier. I love it. LinkedIn gives me the notification. I am pushing this out on LinkedIn. That is right. You guys, I've had a crazy day. I didn't know if I was going to make it on the live stream, and it's been such an exciting day for me because we're talking about Clarity Act. So I want to just jump right into it because for me, I am excited about Clarity Act. Why am I excited? Because it's going to get heated. It's going to get ugly. But there are some parameters that we can actually look at, and we can make educated, informed decisions about what's going on. There was a meeting today involving clarity around the Clarity Act. If you guys didn't watch it, I have some highlights that we're going to play from it. Not the whole thing. It was nearly 2 hours long. I watched the whole thing. It was an excellent, excellent live stream. If you guys want to look it up, it is called the field hearing entitled Building the Future of Finance, How the Clarity Act Unlocks Innovation. And that's just it, guys. This is the future of finance. The future of finance is here and it is upon us. It is currently being debated about. And whether you want to believe it or not, cryptocurrency is on its way to becoming mainstream and mass adopted. It is very obvious to see that we feel like pushing innovation abroad was not the best decision, and we have lost out on money as a result. Now, there are things to say in terms of the president and his involvement in cryptocurrency and whether that has been a negative or a positive. But before we dive into the show, let's give a shout out to everyone who's in the comments. You guys, if you're over on X, hop over to YouTube, smash a subscribe, help me get to 1,500. I'm like right there, right, just the tip. I'm like at 14.98, 14.99. Guys, get me there. I need it. I want it. It's Friday. Give it to me. Now, I took yesterday off. I was like, I put out 3 pieces of content. They went nowhere. I was like, I'm done. I'm taking the day off. So, and today I've got a banger show planned. And you guys, as always, this show is powered by the Gokhshtein News Network. Shout out to the Gokhshtein News Network. You guys, if you don't follow David Gokhshtein, what's even going on? He holds a live stream. It's like 3 hours long every day. He's on like show 800 or something. So he has some excellent guests on his show, spanning years. So I'm always proud to represent the Gokhshtein name. So shout out to the Gokhshtein News Network. And shout out to everyone who's here in the chat, because you guys, you're the reason I keep showing up every day. You guys are. I do it for you. I do it for you. I do it for Mike Vollmer. He was #1. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. You guys, he posts the most beautiful sunrises and sunsets and then tells me it's 120 degrees there. You guys, luckily I've got the AC on here today. I'm not going to melt here today. All right, so let's see. We've got John Legend, the legend. He's #2. I've been saying hi to you in the chats today. I actually took that time off to go visit other people's group chats, like Crypto Princess. I haven't been in her chat in a while. Hello, Mama Shadow. I got the email sent over. You will be hearing from Persona shortly. I can't wait to have you on. Black Cat Team, how are you? Hope you're having a good Friday. Good to see you. Po Man, how are you? Good to see you. Piece of my mind. He squeezed in there. Good to see him. Oh, John Myers. Hello. John Myers is starting to make some video content, guys, and I want to shout him out. It's not easy. When you start talking into the camera, it's not easy. You look at all of your flaws, and you feel like, why am I going to post this, and does anyone even want to see? And John Myers, I've been watching all of your videos. So keep posting them. Put them out there into the void. What I tell people who talk about, should I get into it? I go, just post. No one's watching anyway. And that's the best way to view it. No one's watching anyway. I just assume if nobody is watching my content, then I don't care what I post, right? So I just pretend nobody's watching my content. But you guys all show up every day, so it's not really true. Hello, you're new here. I see you. El Daniel, welcome in. Mr. E, let's fucking go, fam. I cussed. I'm sorry, YouTube. See what happens? You guys get me excited and I start breaking the rules. I sent Poman a gif of, it must be Beyonce whipping her hair around and she's doing this pop and lock thing. Anyway, I'm not going to do that on the show. But you guys, I did say I've got a banger show to get into. For some reason, Mr. E popped in and I start talking about popping and locking. I don't know how that happened. It's got to be Mr. E. It's got to be the vibes, you guys. But we do have an exciting show to dive into today. So let's go ahead and dive into the crypto charts. This is it, guys. Look at it. Everyone was feeling like, oh, it's negative. And then Bitcoin surprised everyone here in the last hour as money flow went into the green. That's right. Down here on our Market Cipher Beeline, which Market Cipher is one of the sponsors on the channel. And we printed this big green dot and we could see here money flow into the green. We had this huge pop up. It's so nice to see because absolutely everything was red today. So if you were waking up and saw this bloodbath and you had Market Cipher and saw these big boy green dots printing, you knew we were about in for a rally. You knew it was coming. And this is why Market Cipher has the best tools for trading, you guys. Check them out, please. There's a link in the description. And a discount code. So go click the things and do the things. So Bitcoin currently trading at 63,992, just a hair under 64. Taking a look at Ethereum has not had that same pop up yet because Bitcoin just had its own little runaway. So Ethereum's currently trading at 1836. Solana is also down still just on the daily. We were trading at $77 yesterday, but trading at $75.21 today. Let's take a look at Chainlink because that has retained its $8 level at $8.21. And XRP is hanging on at $1.08. So, and Sui is 73 cents. So, yes, but you're right. Smash the like and subscribe. Get us to 1,500. I will be so happy if I hit 1,500. If I hit 1,500 on today's live stream, I'll be happy. I will be so happy. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at, actually, I wanted to point out to you guys, because I was taking a look at silver. Guys, take a look at silver. Freaking silver, man, was trading above $100 an ounce. It's down almost 50% from its all-time high. Silver's trading at $56 an ounce. I was just surprised to see that when I saw how low it's gotten. Okay, let's go ahead and move over to our crypto bubbles and take a look at how everything is looking on the daily. For the most part, it is a mixed bag with mostly red. But I'm feeling bullish while others are fearful, and I will tell you why. Did you guys happen to see today that they were meeting to talk about the Clarity Act? Because that's really what I want to talk about today. The Clarity Act is what is going to determine what is going forward with our future of finance and future economy, because we're moving to a digital economy. So if you missed today's hearing, I have pulled out some of the best excerpts for you. So let's get right into the breaking news. All right, you guys. Stand with Crypto was streaming this today. There were a couple of crypto YouTubers, streamers that were streaming this today. I watched the entire thing. But this I felt like was something really important to highlight here. I always screenshot where I want to be in the clip for you guys to get the most of it. So here's the whole thing. They're sitting here talking, and it's going 5 minutes back and forth, and everybody is talking to either ask a question on behalf of the government or the governing bodies who will be voting on this, and the people who are defending the industry, the builders, the developers, the people who have been building out the industry. And they are the tech innovators. Some of these people have been pushed abroad and have been unable to do business the way that they would like to because of the fact that clarity, well, there is no clarity on crypto, and the Clarity Act will provide clear guidelines. Now, we're going to press play here, and I'll be quiet because sometimes my microphone gets a little loud in comparison to the video, but let's press play. I'm only going to play a few minutes of it, and then we'll talk about it.
I do, it always strikes me as odd. You think about it, roughly a third of all Americans either own or use digital assets in some manner. So this isn't some fleeting thing that's going to go away. And there are those who look at it and they resist technology. Well, guess what? If we banned automobiles, we'd have 40,000 less deaths a year. But that's not, we're not going to get rid of cars, I don't think. So there's inherent risk in certain technologies. But the guidelines and the proposals and the law that's being worked on with respect to, of course, the Genius and then with Clarity are designed to do that. So it's understandable why companies, with the failure, particularly the 4 years before under the Biden administration, were having to look to go offshore. So I think it's important that we work hard to bring that stability, and that's why I'm proud of what this committee has done and what the House has done to pass this legislation. But it did bring me to another question, Ms. Aberg, and that is, it's clear why these, the market structure is important for financial firms, but tell me about when it comes to companies who are developing blockchain applications outside of
technology
finance. Why is it important to have these guidelines as well for them?
It's critical. For pretty much our history embodies why it is so critical. The SEC sued Nova Labs over allegations that the hotspots, so hardware, could be plugged in exchange the deployer of that hardware could earn tokens. It also said that users of a mobile phone plan, that was also an unregistered securities offering because the user of that phone plan could potentially earn tokens if they voluntarily opted into a program where they provided useful information for mapping the network. That we're trying to build infrastructure. We're not trying to raise capital through selling tokens. We've never actually sold tokens in the secondary market other than OTC sales that were constructed with to be regulation D compliant. Clarity defines and allots tokens that are used to run functional networks like ours to the regulation under the CFTC. The CFTC still has its full regulatory toolkit. And can bring claims for fraud, manipulation, and abuse in the sale and purchase of those tokens like it always has been. I don't think Clarity is a call for deregulation. I think it's a call for the right regulation per the right regulator. And without that clarity, infrastructure projects like ours are not going to be durable in the United States. We need the certainty of legislation codified into law that cannot be changed at the whim of whoever happens to be sitting at the chair of the SEC or the White House.
And so to
Okay, so she just said that they are a D-PIN network. They run hotspots, and there is a token reward for having the hotspots. A lot of you guys know about Helium. Helium's all over the timeline. It's one of the best use cases outside of Hive Mapper, in my opinion. A Hive Mapper, I mean, it makes Google Maps obsolete. So this is the tech innovation that is being pushed abroad if there isn't clear operating parameters, is what she's saying.
your point, of course, jurisdictions like the European Union, Singapore, the UK, Hong Kong, and the Emirates have aggressively moved to establish clear digital asset frameworks. Mr. Salmonsato, it bring me to you. What lessons can Congress learn from the jurisdictions that have already adopted these digital asset regulatory frameworks, and where have those frameworks succeeded or fallen short?
I mean, I think the key lesson is more the initiative, right? It is the recognition that there's something novel here and that the markets are developing in a way that requires some kind of regulation, and that there are jurisdictions that have kind of leaned into that and said, okay, we're going to tackle this problem. And we recognize that kind of existing regulation is being tested in a way that we can't just rely on some of the principles that have been there. And so, one, I think it's that, that lesson of, hey, you need to take the initiative, and that comes down to Congress. And then I think the second part is, naturally markets are global environments, right? It's very difficult to put jurisdictional boundaries around markets, and that requires, all the regulators to kind of come together and be able to marry where that makes sense, and that requires, again, that initiative to put some regulatory environment in place.
And in that same thing, just as a follow-up on that, why would you say it's important that any market structure legislation preserve the ability of decentralized finance to innovate while ensuring there is the regulatory oversight focus where there are risks?
Yeah, I mean, for us, that is the core innovation here, right? It is the development of a network that is permissionless to participate in and to be able to transfer value in a peer-to-peer fashion, right? It is the truth that there has been a large development of financial institutions and technology firms building in this environment. But even without those, the technology is still important, and that requires a protection of those people who want to participate at that level.
And then they continue to highlight the fact that crypto taking out the intermediaries is such a good thing, because they're able to have things that can settle quickly. And then they even go so far as to talk about stocks. And if someone wanted to transfer a stock to their son or daughter, that it's not just a quick transfer, whereas crypto is something that is immediate peer-to-peer.
Thank you, and my time has expired, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the chair of the Subcommittee on Oversight in Investigations, the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Muser, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all very much for being here with us. This is really a great hearing. It's very, very important. And it's certainly fitting that we're here at Federal Hall.
They really,
where capital formation began in our country, and the Clarity Act.
they're really doing a lot to try and educate as quickly as possible.
My colleagues as well.
With influential people.
Watching your testimonies and your comments, because they're compelling, and they certainly need to be aware of it. Also a little disappointed none of our Democrat colleagues are here. They were invited, and certainly Republicans and Democrats will all benefit, all of America, by passing the Clarity Act.
So there were no Democrats present.
We've passed the Genius Act, as you well know, into law, signed by the president. So, the stablecoins has got its federal framework. The House has done its part in passing Clarity, and truly it's up to the Senate to finish the job. So, Mr. Samonsato, let me start with you, please. With your experience working at the CFTC and now the private sector, how does the Clarity Act make sure we're not creating new gaps for illicit finance and market manipulation?
Okay, here's the
CFTC's
oversight.
Yeah, so I think it does a few things. I've talked already about how it, sets the clear lines of which entities are going to be regulated. But then core to that is building off of that to use the traditional anti-money laundering structures that are in place, right? To say that these newly regulated entities are still going to be Bank Secrecy Act regulated, and that they will have an obligation to surveil for illicit activity. I used to work at Chainalysis. It's a company that recognizes there's something unique in these networks and the ability to process.
Which we all know ultimately, once crypto becomes mainstream, this is what they want. The government ultimately wants to be able to see the ledger, and with cash, they can't see your ledger.
Some of the data and be able to identify potential bad actors. And what you've seen is even something unique in this market of companies that operate using that kind of technology to do, enhanced screening or kind of a different form of risk management on their customers and on illicit activity. And so I think kind of putting all of those pieces together with this bill and kind of ensuring that those intermediaries that are rightfully defined as so also have those AML obligations and kind of, the kind of, I don't want to say motivation, but the call to implement that is really important.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lover, Wisdom Tree, Prime, mobile app, tokenized securities for sales. Do you think this will expand access to everyday investors to trade on blockchain? And how does Clarity, what role does Clarity Act play in?
So how does Clarity
Yeah,
impact
most certainly. I
DPIN?
think, if you look at one of the core benefits, and this gets to a point Mr. Timmons made as well, is you look at the investor being able to have greater control. So we can deliver that tokenized fund share to their own wallet. They control that wallet, and then they can move that fund share to anyone else's wallet instantly. If you think about the power of that instant movement, instant settlement, right now, that is intermediated. Believe it or not, if you tried to move a traditional share of stock, if you just said, hey, I want to transfer this share of stock to my son or daughter, that is actually not a simple process. It requires a lot of paperwork, multiple days, just to do that simple action. Now I can hold my tokenized share in my wallet, move it immediately. So just bringing back the power to the...
Notice he said the tokenized share. He says the tokenized share. He doesn't even really care about crypto or Bitcoin or anything else at this point. All they're caring about is being able to have access to the stock market 24/7 through tokenization. Being able to settle a stock immediately. Because I would imagine if it's a tokenized stock, then it's going to have that immediate settlement. And this is where I'm saying, this is bullish. This is not coming from crypto heads right now. This is coming from U.S. government.
Investor is critically important. The Clarity Act embodies and notes the power of tokenization, that securities that are tokenized are securities themselves, also empowers the SEC and CFTC to continue to innovate. So that's really what's going to continue to allow innovation and growth in this space.
Great. From your perspective, Ms. Wilbur, where does today's...
So this goes on more. I'm not going to keep playing it. You guys can play it if you want, because I'll keep getting all riled up again, and there's still like another hour left on that. But you guys, I feel like this is already being packaged by TradFi, and TradFi they're the ones lobbying for it. They're the ones really saying here that they want the instant settlement layer on securities. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see where this goes now. Now here I want to pull up, I quit sharing the screen. Let me pull this up. Because now I want to pull up our poly market, because people were watching the poly market and what was happening with poly market. So from yesterday and into today, now this morning, this is around the time that they were debating the Clarity Act at that little round table they just had. So right now we're sitting at around a 30% range here. We hit 31, let's see, twice. So let's zoom out here, because now remember, we've been talking about Polymarket, we've been talking about Kalshi, and what's really going on in the inner workings, who you're actually trading against, because you're not trading against Polymarket, you're trading against other people. All right, let's go all the way out. So we first opened up, it dropped way down to 40%, and it's been as high as 80%, about 80%. But it's been pretty volatile, right? It's hovered around 50%, but it's just been in this downward pattern here, going down. Now, if we come back and view the whole week, this is what got me on, because I saw this here. This is a big wick candle. It dropped to 24%. Now remember, the people that we're trading against on these apps, and I'm not saying that I have not opened any positions whatsoever on Polymarket, but now I'm looking at it as, well, it's us versus the suits. And what are the suits doing? Who could do a big wick candle that big? It went down to 24%. And immediately filled all the way back to 40%. So there's somebody there's manipulation going on. There's people who saw it bottom out and triggered a buy at 24%. Yes, at 24%. That's the all-time low. That's the all-time low. So right now, will Clarity get signed into law in 2026? The lowest it's gone is 24%, immediately shot back up to 40%. So now let's go back and look at the daily. We started today, yesterday, 24-hour period, at 45%. It's been down. They're talking about it. It's in the news. There's negativity about it. So I feel like this is probably going to be signed into law, because even though crypto is like the ones that really want Bitcoin to have a rally, they don't necessarily want the Clarity Act, but the Clarity Act is really being championed by people in the security sector now, because they're like, tokenized stocks, oh my gosh, I can settle this whenever I want and I can trade it whenever I want. And that's amazing, because right now they're limited. And if you're in another time zone, you can't, it's hard to participate in the U.S. stock market. So there's a lot of people that run a VPN and participate in the U.S. stock market. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. So right now, it's heavily on the side that no, this does not get signed into law. And I'm going to bet that this is going to get signed into law. Now, let's move on to the next little tab we got here. Because now I wanted to take a look at the politicians. Because as you guys all know, Stand with Crypto has been championing the Clarity Act. And they have been proponents of the Genius Act and the Clarity Act and trying to get support. And so they have on their website how people are voting, whether it's a strongly against, strongly supportive. So I went ahead and sorted by California, but since California is a little more Democratic state, and that's where I am. So I was like, well, let's go ahead and we'll click California and see what California says. So California, we got Brad Sherman, strongly against, but then we see strong support. Vince Fong, he's in my district. I'm happy to see Vince Fong was strongly supported, but I already knew that because he took a picture with Carrie when she was doing a Stand with Crypto thing up in Sacramento. So I already knew Vince Fong was there with the flags, and I went to school with him growing up. Anyway, so let's keep going down. So we've got more strong supporters, Republicans, Democrat. So we can see here, we've got 4 Democrats that are yes. We'll go on to the next page. Let's see. All right. So we've got more strong support, Democrats. Because remember, the people who are going to come out against this are going to be the people who are Democrats that don't want Trump and his family, squeezing anything in the Clarity Act that's going to allow them to enrich themselves. So now here we go. Democrat. All strongly supportive. Democrat. All right. So more Democrats. All strongly support. Californian. That all support this. So, but then you can go into see where they're neutral, or they're somewhat supportive, or they're somewhat against, strongly against. You can keep going. You want to know what I thought was funny was Nancy Pelosi, strongly supportive. I was surprised to see that. Who else do you guys want me to look up? You guys can go to Stand with Crypto right now and see who in your district, where they stand on it, how they feel. And so it's good. It's important for us to have a voice in what's going on. So now, and speaking of people that are not necessarily supportive of the bill, this just came out in the news today. Senator Warren requests a 2026 reporting of Trump's crypto earnings after his $1.4 billion disclosure. I love they got her screaming and pointing. With the Senate likely voting on the crypto bill within days, Elizabeth Warren asked for information on Donald Trump's earnings between January and July ahead of a 2027 deadline. Senator Elizabeth Warren is one of the more outspoken voices in the U.S. Congress associated with digital assets with illicit activities, and has called on President Donald Trump to release additional information on his crypto investments ahead of a mandated deadline. In a Thursday letter, Warren requested Trump voluntarily release financial disclosure report on his earnings related to cryptocurrency between January 1 and July 15. So this will be this year, the first 6 months. The request came after Trump's 2025 financial disclosures showed he had earned $1.4 billion from crypto-related ventures in 2025, including through its MEMECOIN Trump official and the Trump's family company, World Liberty Financial. Your financial disclosure raises key questions about the appropriateness of presidents, vice presidents, senior administration officials, and members of Congress and their families from profiting off the crypto industry, just as the U.S. Senate debates crypto market structure legislation that has the potential to increase the value of your crypto holdings. So she's coming out strong. We're all kind of not really surprised on that, right? We're all not really surprised on that. Let's see. Poman said, look up my district, Julie. Okay, Poman, what's your district? Let's, we can't do by district. It'll just do by state. I know, because I wanted to look up that we're like in my county, but it doesn't break it out by county. And that's like the easier way to do it. You have to like actually search for your rep's name. Search for your rep's name. But anyway, it is a good reference point. I came through here and started clicking through. There was 177 pages, so I wanted to go through and click. So I kept clicking, and I kept clicking, and I kept clicking, just to see where we would get to when it says that there's no... the parties are all neutral, because then it all goes, let's see. I thought I had it all stance. Let me see. Neutral or pending. Let's do that. That's probably what I did. So neutral and pending. If I type neutral and pending, 105 pages come up. 105 pages. So the majority of people have not decided yet, one way or the other. They have not said. Now, if we go back to this hearing here, and we listen back to the gentleman that I first had playing, he said 1/3 of people hold digital assets. So if 1/3 of people hold digital assets, we applied that to 1/3 of potentially people that are sitting in governing bodies, then chances are 1/3 of those people that are in the governing bodies that will be voting on clarity will then be able to decide if this gets passed or not. So I'm looking at this like people have grown really weary. They're tired. Fatigue is set in. They feel like it's never going to pass. And let's admit, they want this to be stacked to where they're going to win the odds on it. If it's stacked that this is not going to pass, and it does, someone's going to profit hugely off of it. Someone's going to profit hugely off of it. And who are we betting against? Who are we betting against? It's not Kalshi and it's not Polymarket. We're betting against the suits. And they just said they want tokenized securities. They want to be able to do this. They want to be able to settle. They want to be able to do peer-to-peer. They want a public ledger. That's why stable coins have already been passed. Genius Act is already here. You think they're going to pass stable coin legislation but not clearly define the rest of the parameters around stable coin and blockchain? It just doesn't even sound feasible. None of that sounds feasible to me. They're not going to pass one half but not pass the other half. So if you guys, let me know what you think in the comments, because oh my gosh, Bowman, you're cracking me up in the comments today. You guys, if you haven't already subscribed to me over on YouTube, go subscribe to me on YouTube. Help me get to 1,500, would you? I'm like right there. I'm right there. It's okay. I'm at $14.99. I'm going to go cry now, you guys. Well, thank you all for tuning in and listening to me rant about that. I have been digging in deep on the Clarity Act because this is going to continue, but they need to try and get this approved before recess. Recess is like 3 weeks away. There's going to be a vote coming up. So we're going to be seeing some more movement on this. So you guys, I'm going to keep my hand on the pulse and see where things are going with it. So if you guys are new here, smash a subscribe. And as always, I'll be back at 1 o'clock Pacific time, Monday through Friday. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will catch you all on the next one. Bye-bye.